But in reality, it is well believed. It is not written, it is not documented, but it is well believed in the Hollywood circles and certainly in the halls of education that it was Bass Reeves that the Lone Ranger was patterned after. And that's something that I think we can all be proud of. Contrary to what the classic Westerns have shown, you see John Wayne out there, and we all know, of course, that many of the cowboys of that day were black, in fact, because once slavery was supposedly annihilated, they had nowhere else to go, and there was nothing else to do, so they would end up herding cattle at somebody's ranch. So we were the cowboys of that day, and we are still the cowboys of that day, of today. There are many of us out there, but unfortunately, I think a lot of younger people think that it was only the Caucasians who were cowboys, but in fact, no. They were all races. Bass Reeves was born a slave in 1838. He was born in Crawford County, Arkansas. He served as the Arkansas State Legislator, William Reeves, and that's where he took his name from. And his first job was as a water boy. He then worked as a field hand. When William Reeves passed away, his son George made Bass Reeves his personal companion and servant. Then he went to the Civil War. When that broke out, Reeves went into battle with his master, and he fought for the Confederacy. It was during the Civil War that Reeves made his great escape, and some say that he left because of a dispute over a card game, wherein Reeves beat up his master and fled to avoid punishment. Others say he had heard that slaves were being freed and simply ran in pursuit of his own freedom. So we don't really know. But in either case, Reeves took refuge with the Creek and the Seminole Indians in what is now Oklahoma, and he learned their languages and customs. That's why I speak Chinese and Spanish, because it's traditional that Buffalo soldiers know more than one language. And those languages can come up handy, you never know when. When all the slaves were freed in 1865, Reeves, also no longer a fugitive, he left the Indian Territory and went to farm his own land near Van Buren, Arkansas. A year later, he married Nellie Jenkins of Texas, with whom he raised 5 girls and 5 boys. While a successful farmer, rancher, and father, Reeves occasionally worked as a scout and used his tracking skills to help lawmen find criminals. But his true second act was yet to begin. Reeves took his job as a marshal. He took it very seriously, 6 feet 2 inches tall, not a guy to mess with. He was very slender. He rode a large white stallion as he patrolled all 75,000 square miles of Indian territory. The rough and tough lawman with his intimidating black hat, 2 Colt 45 peacemakers strapped on his hips, slick suits, and polished shoes. He brought in over 3,000, I'm sorry, I said 1,500, it was over 3,000 felons to justice. And in the course of doing so, Reeves was involved in his fair share of shootouts. Despite being shot on multiple occasions, he managed to dodge every bullet and earned him the moniker of the Indomitable Marshal. Dodging bullets was also by no means his only skill. Reeves used the fact that he never learned how to write or read to his advantage. And he was very inventive and effective by using these different disguises to get even the criminals to read their own warrants, so he would know for sure he had the right guy. Often he would distract outlaws with this gimmick, asking them to read that piece of the warrant or some other letter that he gave them, and a few moments later he'd draw his gun and he'd put them under arrest. By all accounts, Reeves was also a master of disguise. Can you hear the Lone Ranger coming along here? This is kind of how they got the Lone Ranger going. But he was also known for leaving the silver dollar as his calling card. In the military, we've had a lot of accomplishments among blacks. U.S. Army units have black men that comprise more than half of its troops. The 1st Rhode Island Regiment in 1778. Commissioned officer in the U.S. Navy, Robert Smalls, in 1863. Commissioned officer above the rank of captain in the U.S. Army, the first one was Major Martin Delaney in 1865. We all know about West Point graduate Henry O. Flipper, 1877. Graduate of U.S. Naval Academy, Wesley Brown, 1949. And I mention those in the 1700s and 1800s because a lot of people think in the Civil War there were no commissioned officers, that everybody was a sergeant. But here we are at Allensworth, named after Colonel Allensworth. So obviously, sometimes people got history a little bit wrong. So there were a lot of accomplishments that were accomplished by our forefathers which we need to not only be very proud of, but I think we need to celebrate, and we need to carry that tradition forward using honor, tradition of integrity, and of course, wow, sometimes when I think about that, I just, that's a heavy burden to have to carry, but we can carry it, and we should carry it, no matter what our race or ethnicity. We must carry those forward and hopefully bring our community together as it should be, as it was intended to be, and as it will be in the future. I thank you for your time and for listening to us and for meeting all of us. We'll be out here if you want to come out and talk to us. We'd be more than honored and happy to sit and talk with you.
Hello out there. All right, give me some energy. Hey, we're not dead. We're celebrating Colonel Allensworth, the only state park referencing to whom? African Americans Black. This is a community founded by whom? Come on, Colonel Allensworth, retired officer from the United States. United States. He protected this army. He served. But he came and he did what? He had a vision. He had a vision. Look at his vision. It's still here. 2018. You hear me? 2018. Isn't that something to think about? Well, let me tell you about the colonel. He wasn't the only one with military ties. And all of you should know this history. It's online. Talk to the docents. Learn this history. California is powerful because it has the very first state park recognizing the African American or Black culture. California has the very first, according to the Buffalo Soldiers history, Yosemite sequoias, the very first park rangers. And you can go to the park and meet, so far, the only park ranger that looked black. They protected the sequoias. They did the mail, yes. They helped build the railroads. They did a lot. But Colonel Allensworth had a vision, and look at the railroad tracks. They're running parallel. You have to cross them to get into here. So you're using history. I'm going to leave you with a thought, and then I'll come back because I have to introduce the other participants and friends who have come quite a ways to help you celebrate this historical day. And when I say historical day, look at the weather. Isn't it wonderful? Let's applaud that. Whatever your faith is, look at this weather. It could have been storming or snowing, but we have sunshine in Allensworth at the only state historical park that recognizes the African American culture. How about that? And most of you use what to get here? A bus, a car, maybe a bicycle, maybe a truck, whatever. But do they have wheels on there? A wheel? Do anybody know who invented the first wheel? You don't know, huh? All right. Let me leave you with that thought. You have the Ethiopians, you have the Egyptians. Before Christ, don't you read about that in your biblical history? The wheel, the oxen, the cart, and all of that? That was invented by Ethiopians. Okay? That wheel is still turning today in the United States as well as in the entire world, whether it's aeronautics, whether it's in the trucking, transportation wheel. That was invented, and I'll come back later and give you some more information. We're going to talk about transportation because that is part of the vision that the late Colonel Allensworth utilized in developing this community. It needed to be close to where there was transportation, where goods could travel to Allensworth and goods could travel outside of Allensworth. This was a community to itself. And that gentleman had a big vision. And that vision is still thriving here today. And because of you today, you are part of that vision. Don't mistake the small numbers. It takes a mustard seed. How many know what that mustard seed is? That mustard seed is powerful. So we are part of that mustard seed still growing. Now I have Mama Beulah. Woo! Mama Beulah. Where is Mama Beulah? Hello, Mama Beulah. Come on, come on. Oh, you're going to enjoy her. Mama Beulah. She's coming. You're going to be in for a treat. How many of you have seen Mama Beulah? Oh, Mama Beulah, come on. Her Sunday hat, her pearls. Woo! Come on here. Get Mama Beulah up here. Look at her. She has her sunshades on. Come on, Mama. Woo! What a day we having. My. Welcome, Mama Beulah. How was your trip to Allensworth? It is wonderful. Mama Beulah.
How y'all doing today? Woo, Lord. Woo, I'm tired already. Woo. Oh, yes, now you know what to do. Act like you know something, boy. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name, well, baby, come back here. Just bring it a little closer, because I got to hold on to some things. Just bring it a little bit more closer and hold it down. Yeah, that's how we do it. See, you know. Thank you. All right, now go sit down. All right, now. My name is Beulah Mae Williams. Some folks call me Mama Beulah. Some folks call me Grandma Beulah. And well, the church folks, they call me Sister Beulah. Now, you can pick whichever ones you like, and you can call me the same. Just don't call me late for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It's so good to be here. I didn't know it's going to be this many people here when the nice folks asked me to be here today to speak to y'all. But you know, either way, I was honored, because we's here to celebrate. For the celebrate of our people's history. Yes, we is. And now, I don't know why they seem fit to pick little old me, but maybe it's because they think I'm so old, I might have a little bit first-hand knowledge about what went on, as the youngins say, back in the day. Yes. Well, but that's all right. I'm going to share with y'all some of my life's experiences. Some I done seen, some I done heard, and just pass you on a little bit of wisdom. But you know, a young lady such as myself, you know, it's hard to memorize everything. So I wrote some things down, and I hope y'all don't mind. I'm gonna be needing to look to my papers, but I ain't gonna be able to read nothing if I can't find my glasses. Did I drop them down there somewhere? Anybody see my glasses? What? They weird? Oh, Lord, have mercy, child. I got them on. Ain't that something? That's all right. Y'all laughing at me now, but you just keep on living, because one day, well, anyway, let's get back to why I'm up here. Well, you see, our people been through a lot. Yes, they have. Some for the good and some for the bad. But either way, it made us a strong race of people. Yes, it did. And you know what? We need to be thankful. Thankful for those that came before us. Thankful for those that was the first to be something and to do something. And Lord, I want to thank God for these here Buffalo soldiers. Yes. You know, they's special indeed. But there was one that, in my opinion, was just a bit more special than the others. Yes, you know, there's always been, seems like there's always talk about what the men folks done throughout history, and you know, but there's all these kinds of stories. But you know, today in today's times, there's been so many finding stories and events about the wrongdoings and the mistreatments of the women folks today. And you know, the women's is having marches and rallies together today for like we used to do with Lil Marty. Y'all remember when Marty used to have their marches for our civil rights and our equalisms? Yes. But nowadays it seems a need for the women's to come together, for the equalities to be like the men's. We need to be treated equalisms as the men's folks, and we need to uplift each other and empower each other. Now this here ain't no political speech or nothing, but I felt the need to share this stuff with you so our young ladies could know that we can be anything we want to be. The youngest, the old ones, and the middle-aged ones, and just the women's in general. We need to support one another. So, our foremothers didn't go through struggles and pains so that we could go around here. Well, some of them, because Lord knows Mama Beulah don't act like some of these young girls today. And unfortunately, some of the old ones too. But some of these young ladies walk around here acting like, well, I'm going to leave that alone. Now, you remember I said that one of the Buffalo Soldiers was a little bit more special than the other one? Well, if y'all got a little time, I want to take you back to a time long ago. And then you'll see how everything just ties on together. Is that all right with y'all? Okay, so listen up now. In a tiny shotgun cabin, a baby girl was born. A baby girl born to slavery that no one could forewarn. Her name was Cathay Williams, and she was determined, and never once was she deterred. As she began her life as a house girl, being seen but never heard. Then that Civil War broke out, and them Union soldiers came, and they took poor Cathay with them. That child's life would never be the same. Now, Cathay would learn the ways of military life, and don't you know, child, she became an accomplished cook. She was sent off to General Sheridan's house, a job she proudly undertook. Yes, she did. She loved that job. And then that Civil War finally was ended. And Cathay, yes, child, she became free. And in seeking out her freedom, she found her place down in history. Her own way she needed to make, and a burden to no one be. So as a Buffalo soldier, she joined up in the 38th U.S. Infantry. Now I know some of y'all thinking, a Buffalo soldier is a man. How she do that way back then? Well, hush up now, and I'm gonna tell you. See, Cathay Williams became William Cathay, and no one was to know the secret of her identity. Shh. And as a soldier, she did grow. The troops moved west to Fort Cummins, to keep them Apaches at bay. There were 101 enlisted men, and among them was our girl, William Cathay. Now, after 2 years as a soldier in the 38th Company A, William went to see the doctor. And don't you know, her secret came out that day. So she was discharged as a Buffalo soldier, but Cathay did her very best as she continued to make her way in that land they called the West. Now, because of her illegal enlistment, her pension child had passed her by. But she picked herself up and moved on, and never once did she question why. Well, life ended for Cathay Williams at the ripe old age of 82. She lived a long and independent life, a life that was tried and true. So a salute to Cathay Williams, the hero of this rhyme, a special woman of the West, a legend in her time. Now see, women's, we got somebody else that we can look up to. Y'all didn't know that there was a Buffalo Soldier woman. I know you didn't. And that's all I'm trying to teach the young and the old, and this here boy too. Said, I know he ain't been paying attention to me once. Over there on that phone, these kids and their electric gadgets, man, I'm trying to tell you, just some lessons and some wisdom, but he's sitting over there with his lip hanging down to his chest. All because I told him I needed him to go pick me some flowers. Ain't that something? Y'all got to excuse that boy, because, you know, back in our day, you couldn't act like that. No, Lord, couldn't be disrespectful and wasn't no talking back. And see, I remember when my Papa Zach and my grandma blessed, child, they used to wake me up 4 o'clock in the morning when the rooster crowed. Yeah, they had to go out there and milk them cows, and then off to the cotton fields we go. Didn't get home till nearly 6 dark, no Lord. And when we did, we ate our supper and went straight to bed. But yes, I remember sometimes late at night, we used to sit at Grandma's feet, and she'd tell us them Bible stories. Yeah, you know, Grandma, she was religious. She was a very religious woman. Most religious woman you ever did know. And you know, she tell us, Jesus saves. Oh, Jesus saves. Yeah, she did. She tell us when we was feeling bad, and when it seemed like everybody was doing us wrong or was out to get us, she said that all we had to do was fall down on our knees, and we say, Lord, don't you move the mountain, but give me the strength to climb. And Lord, don't you take away my stumbling block. Just lead me all around. Lord, I don't bother nobody. I try to treat everybody the same, but every time I turn my back, they scandalize my name. And oh, Jesus, no, you don't have to move the mountain, but give me the strength to climb. And Lord, don't you take away my stumbling block. You just lead me all around. I want you to just lead me all around. See, that's what I keep trying to tell that boy and anybody else who listen to me. It's about us coming together. It's about us singing and thanking God. Thanking God for giving and giving him the glory. Thanking him for getting us over, because Lord knows we done come a mighty long way. Yes, we have a mighty long way. God, I just don't know what's gotten to the people these here days. The young men is gambling and fighting and cussing, and Lord, the women's. Lord, the women's walking around with no clothes on, gyrating all over this land just to shine for God. But see, I was here to tell you today that the men's and the women's that was born in my time, no, like this beautiful sister here and that dapper young man right there. See, us and the generations before us, we gave birth to all y'all. See, we were slaves. And we were slaves, our family was slaves, and we worked the ground, and they had self-respect. And see, that's the kind of blood that's running through your veins today. And that's the stock that we's made of. You know, what happened to us, y'all? What happened to the pride and the dignity and the love and respect that we used to have for one another? Where did it go? And most importantly, how do we get it back? And what I'm telling you, young men, black, white, yellow, brown, green, you need to take your place. You see, your sons and your daughters, they need you. Did you hear me? Your children need you. And young women, you need to know that you is more than just your hips and your thighs. You is beautiful and strong and powerful. And I want more for you. And y'all ought to want more for yourself too. You see, I want every single one of you. The men, the women, the youngins, Turn to the next person. Turn to your neighbor and tell them I love you. Go on, say I love you. That's right, that's right, that's right. See, folks need to know that if they need anything, they can come to you. If they need somebody to talk to, they can come to you. If they need a shoulder or some food or some clothes, they can come to you. See, that's how we start to get back to where we was back in the day. When you leave this here place today, I need you to take that with you. And see, and boy, it don't make me never mind about you standing over there with your lip hanging down to your chest. Now, see, I thought you would run off earlier, but I see you learned your lesson. He went and got me my flowers, y'all. Went and got me my flowers. Well, now, I reckon I done took up enough of y'all time today, and I hope that what I said ain't fell on no deaf ears. Now, if you can't remember nothing I said today, I know I said a lot and was probably rambling all over the place. You know, sometimes that's what us old folks do. But, you know, if you can't remember nothing else, I need you to remember these words. How many of y'all seen that movie? You seen that movie called The Help? You know, with the one with that girl that play on the TV show How to Murder. And you know, if you ain't seen it, y'all need to see The Help. But anyway, the maid, she had a little girl she took care of. And she taught that little girl something important back then. And I'm telling you, it was just as important then as it is today. Y'all remember that line? If y'all don't remember nothing else, Mama Beulah wants you to know, you is smart, you is kind, and you is important. All right now, thank y'all for listening to Mama Beulah. Now, Mama Beulah lesson. Come on here, boy. Come on, move this here thing and help me up out this chair. Woo, come on now. Come on. Woo. Woo. One more. Woo! There we go. All right now. All right, Mama Beulah. See y'all next time.
How about that? Did you enjoy Mama Beulah? All right, come on now. Did you enjoy Mama Beulah? Woo! I know you guys do louder than that when you're at a concert or you're doing your thing or you're howling or whatever. So hey, I want you to make some noise today because this is, as I said before, a big celebration. It is a day of thankfulness, and I'm very thankful to see all of you who have taken time out of your very, 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 very busy lives to come to Allensworth and share and celebrate and meet and network and just enjoy the afternoon under the beautiful, beautiful sunshine of what? California. We could have the snow like in Chi-Town, where I'm from. There's snow deep there. As my brother say, I'm still trying to look for triple first. And I have a friend who can't seem to fly back to California because he can't seem to get off the airstrip. So we have a lot today to be thankful. We made it here safely, and I hope that each and every one of you, as you leave today, will leave with something that you didn't know. Now remember, I told you about that wheel. Okay, how about that gasket? Do you know that an African-American man created that so the oil don't leak out of your car? The oil don't leak out of the train. It don't leak out of anything that uses a gasket. You need to look that up. You need to know your history. The more history you know, the more knowledgeable you'll be, the more stronger you'll be, and the more arrogant like I am. I know who I am. I know whose shoulders I'm standing on. I know who created the wheels that I drive, that SUV or that truck or that tricycle, bicycle, whatever. I know that it came from the knowledge of someone that had a vision, even though he was being beat to death and he worked in the hot sun in developing the United States of America. You hear me? Okay. Let me take you to Bakersfield. African-American man named Pinckney, William Henry Pinckney. I have some brochures that's at a table over here that will show you the first African-American house that was built in Bakersfield, California for William Henry Pinckney. But let me tell you the rest of the history. You need to Google and find that out. Everybody loves Google, don't you? Let me tell you about Google. It'll take you to his great, grandfather Pinckney. You'll find him on the Bill of Rights. Charles Coates Pinckney. So I implore upon you to learn more about your history, because history didn't just start when you were born. It didn't start when I was born. Black history was already here, because you had a grandmother. No, you had a mother. You had a grandmother. Some of you, which I had the pleasure of knowing my great-grandmother, okay, when I came. Some of you may have known the second grandmother, great-grandmother. But let me tell you, if you check your history, they were slaves. I know my great-grandmother was, but she entered the medicine. In her day, she didn't go to college to be a nurse. She was what you call a midwife. And guess what? On many birth certificates, her signature, as well as the country doctor, was on many birth certificates. On my birth certificate, I have a great aunt whose mother signed my birth certificate because she was the midwife back in Tennessee, Mississippi, and Arkansas. So I'm letting you know you need to go and check out your history. You will know more about you than that Social Security number, that driver's license number, because you're a number now. Everywhere you go, what do they want? Give me your Social Security number. Do you have a driver's license? California, do you have an ID number? Because you're a number. But if you go check it out, you can say, I'm not a number. I'm a person. I'm a person with history. And my background is not what you're saying it is, because my background is, whether my name is Johnson, Robertson, Davison, Peterson, whatever it is, there is history there. And I assure you, as you check, you will find out that there may be a king or a queen or an emperor. There will be something attached to that historical name that you wear every single day. Now, before I bring my next guest, how many of you have cell phones? Raise your hand, don't be shy. Okay. How come you can call New York from where you're sitting and you can have a conversation? Do you know why? Well, it's because of an African-American man named Henry T. Sampson, like Samson and Goliath. He was the first African-American nuclear engineer. But he decided, I didn't say he created the cell phone. I'm getting to the point. He figured out how he could come up with the gamma cell so that you can hold that cell phone like this lady here, and you can Google and you can call and you can bounce from tower to tower. Okay? You need to look that up. How about the payphone? We have on a table back there pictures of many of the inventions that African Americans invented. How about that golf tee? How about the thermostat? Everybody take it for granted. It is hot, it's cold. Hit the thermostat. That was created by African American. Oh my gosh, I hate ironing. That iron, the ironing board. Oh, let me pop it in the dryer. How about the dryer? You didn't know that, did you? You guys thought it was all picking cotton and breaking your back. Oh no. They were doing that. Replenishing the earth through what we call today agribusiness. That's very powerful. So don't take that down here, bring it up here, because they were geniuses in knowing how to plant that cotton. So let me tell you something else. Cotton came to Kern County and all out in here by way of African Americans coming out in the early 1700s to Kern County. It was called Havilah at that time, to plant cotton. Now, I didn't say they brought cotton to California, because Tulare counties, Hanford, see, you need to learn your history. Visalia, they had cotton. But in this valley portion, there was no cotton. So 1,000 blacks came from Carolina, South Carolina, came because they were known to be the best farmers. They came to the West to plant that first crop in 1884 in what you know, Bakersfield. Well, guess what? They brought a doctor. The first doctor. They brought their dentist. Oh, yeah, had to look good. Their seamstress. Bustles were worn by women in that day. They dressed. I love it. The hat, the whole 9 yards. They brought the horse trainer. They brought the preacher. That Matt Stevens was a Baptist preacher that came. They brought the hairdresser. People forget. They think of perms today. How many of you use a flat iron? How many of you remember marcelling the hair? Using the big Marcel iron to flatten the hair? Okay. They brought all of that. And guess what? They settled downtown Bakersfield. Downtown Bakersfield. They did not settle in the country. They settled in downtown because they were brought by train loads in 1884. All that year until December, 1,000 came to plant cotton, and they did. Well, it failed, but they planted another crop the next year, and guess what? Cotton came to Kern County, Central Valley. So you need to know that history, that through the woven fabrics of history in the Central Valley, the state of California, we're there. How many of you know you had a black governor? How many? Did California have a black governor? Okay. Before Obama, let me tell you, California had 2. Pico was your first black governor of the state of California. His brother was also considered a governor. He was the minister of the military. I'm not from here. I'm an outsider coming to California, and I know your history. You better learn your history. Better learn your history. It's powerful. You better know you had elected officials before Adam Clayton Powell. You better know you had elected officials. Frederick Douglass was one. You had them way back. And the only reason we're continuing that process is because it was already there to have statesmen and stateswomen. So you need to, today, I hope you'll leave here and Google a little bit more and learn about your history. Because in everything that happens every day of your life, we are in that fabric, like it or not. And what I used to say to people when they would not understand my blackness, I say, you just jealous because you don't know my history and you don't know me. And that was the big stick I carried. I didn't do the cursing and you racist. I don't have to call them that. They're ignorant because you don't know my history. If you did, you wouldn't fear me and you wouldn't challenge me. So why am I going to stand up here and act ignorant with you? I don't have to fight for what I already have. All of us already, as immigrants to the United States of America, we have our history. We just don't know it. Every culture that has come behind us, whether you're from Italy, wherever you're from, all of us are immigrants to the United States. One is no better than the other. But it just so happens that my culture made it more comfortable for the rest of the immigrants to come to the United States of America and seek the American dream. That's all. We shouldn't fight each other. We shouldn't challenge each other. They have a right. But guess what? You can stand and know your history and say, because of my culture, things are better. There's a broom. There's a washer, there's a dryer, there's a thermostat, there's a cell phone, there's trains, There's a signal light. How many of you know we created the traffic light? There's a railroad crossing. When you go across there, there's something to give you a signal. That was created by my culture. So that's all you have to say to people. Don't be nasty and don't be mean. Just let them know you know who you are. And at this time, I have a wonderful person that's going to come up. How about Miss Harriet Tubman? Miss Tubman, come on up. How many of you know Harriet Tubman? Her history. You need to learn it. How about Fannie Lou Harper? You better learn, Hammer rather, you better learn her. Powerful women. All the way from Fresno, California. Hello, Miss Harriet Tubman. Hey, hey, hey. Her history is so dynamic. And I am so honored that she is gracing the stage today. And she took time out of her busy, hectic day. I'm sure churning and making butter, and tomorrow she's preparing for church. And I'm sure she was getting her little supper together. And Miss Tubman, do we have a baby on the way? Maybe getting a midwife? Oh, there were so many things that Miss Tubman in her day probably had to have a hand in. At this time, Miss Harriet Tubman.
Oh, children, where should I send thee? How should I send thee? I'm gonna send thee one by one for the little bitty baby that was born in Bethlehem. Oh, children, where should I send thee? How should I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 2 by 2, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for the little bitty baby that was born in Bethlehem. Oh, children, where should I send thee? How should I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 3 by 3, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for the little bitty baby that was born in Bethlehem. Oh, children, where should I send thee? How should I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 4 by 4, 4 for the poor that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for the little bitty baby that was born in Bethlehem. Oh, children, where should I send thee? How should I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 5 by 5, 5 for the 5 that stood at the side, 4 for the 4 that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for the little bitty baby that was born in Bethlehem. Oh, children, where should I send thee? How should I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 6 by 6, 6 for the 6 that never got fixed, 5 for the 5 that stood at the side, 4 for the 4 that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for the little bitty baby that was born born, born in Bethlehem. Oh, children, where should I send thee? How should I send thee? I'm gonna send thee 7 by 7, 7 for the 7 that never made heaven, 6 for the 6 that never got fixed, 5 for the 5 that stood at the side, 4 for the 4 that stood at the door, 3 for the Hebrew children, 2 for Paul and Silas, 1 for the little bitty baby that was born, born, born in Bethlehem. I tell you, he was born, born, born in Bethlehem. Oh yes, he was born, born, born in Bethlehem. That's a song I used to sing when I was walking up and down those roads by the fields where the slaves would be out there picking cotton, picking whatever that master told them to pick, and I would call out to them, and they would sing back to me with the number that was ready to go. So I knew how many people to expect.